Hi, this is Josie, and you've reached my channel Into Light. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today, I would like to talk about what age means to all of us. I'm a cliche person. I'm a writer, and one of my shadow qualities in writing is, I have a tendency to lean on cliches. I do it in my talk, I do it in my writing, and I know a lot of professional writers and critics stay away from cliches as much as possible, but I have one of my favorite cliches, and it has to do with what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about what age really means. And the cliche I'm referring to is age is simply a number. And this is one cliche that I've really taken into my lifestyle, into my life path, into my spirituality. And I really do believe that age is just a number, because age has to do with time. And when it comes to our spirituality, when it comes to our subconscious, our higher selves, our higher power, there is no time. Everything is happening at the same time. So therefore, age is just simply how we track certain things, how we track a person's life. But people are living so much longer now. With the medical technology that we have, and maybe with the right kind of mindset that we have, people are living longer. I've lived on this earth for long enough to know that the difference, because when I was growing up, we would hear of someone being 100 years old and passing away, and we thought that that was ancient. Now, people are passing away at 100 years old or close to it quite often. And there's more and more people that are living a longer life. You ask those people what it took for them to stay on this earth this long, and mostly it was their mental attitude and their emotional attitude and their spirituality that caused them to have a little bit more longevity. So, some people want to live longer than others. Of course, we want to live long as we are healthy in mind, body, and spirit. But the cliche, age is just a number. As a college student, I was attending an English 1A class extended out through the University of California at Santa Cruz. And my incredible professor redlined my writing, for I was really basically a cliche queen. She did redline a lot of my cliches. But one of my favorites is age is just a number. In our society, I believe, especially in the United States, I'm not trying to cut the United States down. I was born and raised here. I'll probably stay here for the rest of my life. But there are certain differences in the United States, in our society, that are different than other cultures. And one of them is what I believe to be true in our society, that we overly focus on age. How old are you? How young are you? Have you had Botox? We over-focus on looking at a person's outside appearances instead of really looking at the person on the inside. Now, as a spiritual person, I do have to remind myself, and all of us, that we are spirits living in a human body. We're not the other way around. So we are spiritual inside of ourselves. We have spirit living within us in our bodies. So, as we overfocus on age, it seems like older people seem to disappear in our society as they progress in age. And what we forget to look and appreciate is what is found on the inside, and all that beautiful experience and wisdom that people have an opportunity to do as they become older. We wonder why people stay on this earth and why other people go to their next adventure, which is heaven, which is that extension of our lives as we pass. I believe that we were contracted, as our souls were contracted as we came into this earth. Before we came into this earth, actually, sorry to say, I made a mistake there. It's before we came, we were contracted to live a certain length of time, to live our lives in accordance to how we were going to evolve our souls. So everybody has a purpose. We have a purpose on this lifetime, and after our purpose is fulfilled here on earth, we have another purpose in the other life with spirit. It's really amazing, but our bodies are created to live a lot longer than our society puts that age. In the insurance companies, when you're 72, you're considered ready to die. It's for insurance purposes. It's for profit. It's for money, really. So we don't want to over-identify with that. Oh, I'm 70 now, so I should be on a walker. No. Our bodies were made to thrive and to stay on this earth for a lot longer than they do. But it is our mind, and in extreme cases, our lack of spirituality that sends us to the other side. Okay? So, and that's fine, I guess. It is fine, but we have our purposes here on earth, and we want to fulfill that purpose and live here in a healthy state with our family, with people that we love, as long as we can, and do the things that we love to do. Okay? So many cultures honor their elders more than we do in the United States, and I'm hoping that will change soon. I'm hoping that that's changing right now. I want to stay positive about that. But elders have a life experience that can teach us so much. And young people, I believe, are realizing that if we listen to an elder and we hear about the experiences of the past, it can help us in the now and it can help us in the future, okay? So when I was growing up, I had a beautiful grandmother. My mother's mother passed away before I was born. My mother was pregnant with me, or I don't even know if she was pregnant with me. I think she was just getting married to my father when my grandmother died. But my grandmother on my father's side was named Mary, and she died at 92 years old. And back then, when she did die in the 80s, that was old. She lived a long life. She lived a full life. And I wish we could have kept her longer, but she was ready to go. It was her time. She was an invaluable source of love for me. She was an invaluable source of storytelling. She happened to be a really incredible storyteller. She could have been a writer herself. but I would sit at her knee and ask her to tell me how it was growing up as a young girl and a young woman in Palermo, Sicily, where she was born. And from those talks, and she was born in the late 1800s, and from those talks and stories, I was inspired to write a novel that told about what my ancestors experienced as refugees coming on a ship to dock on Ellis Island, New York in the early 1900s. Now, my ancestors were very poor, so they had to be in steerage. And what I mean by steerage, if you don't know boat lingo, is steerage on a ship was the lowest rung. They were low. They couldn't even see out the windows. They couldn't even see out the portholes. And that's where the animals were they were transporting from Italy to the United States. They were transporting cows, steers, I don't know what all else, but they were in what they call steerage. And that's where my grandmother and her family were when they were crossing the seas to come over from Palermo to the United States of America. Of course, they wanted to settle in places where where their talents and their skills could be used so they can make money for their families, so they could produce for their families. And so my ancestors were ranchers. My ancestors were orchard workers. They were fruit growers. They were pruners. They were so they were grocers, and they were also ranchers. So they settled in Los Angeles, California, San Jose, California, San Francisco, California, and Texas. So they thought about this first. Of course, they saved up so they could come to the United States and have a better life. And that's what they did. Now, that's not to say it wasn't hard. It wasn't hard. It was hard. It wasn't easy. It was hard, of course, and they knew it was going to be. But they were strong, determined, and inspired people. And they worked hard. And they built a life for their children and their grandchildren so they could stay in the United States of America. So, what keeps us ageless? What does keep us ageless? It certainly isn't what people see on the outside, but it's what we are on the inside. You've heard people say, oh my gosh, that person is beautiful on the inside and the outside, or that guy is so handsome, but he's such a good person. He's good on the inside, which makes him really attractive on the outside. Really, And I'm not to say that we need to look our best at all times. Of course, that's going to keep us younger. We need to look our best. We need to move our bodies. We need to move and do things that we enjoy to do. We need to recreate our bodies, not just labor our bodies, but recreate our bodies. And movement is very, very important in staying healthy and staying young. Young in the mind, young in the spirit, and young in the body. Socializing as we get more mature, as we get married and we have children, we have families, we tend to focus on our work, we tend to focus on our families, which is fine, but we also need to have hobbies and have passions that light our fire. That is one aspect of life that can really, really keep you ageless. If you grab onto that passion, what you love to do, and seeking and engaging in passions and what lights us. And that's part of our spirituality too. And a lot of people are ageless because they turn everything over to spirit. They know the power of spirit that grows inside of us, and they turn everything over. So they're not suffering from anxiety as we age. They're not suffering from depression as we age. They're having faith and relying on spirit to help to keep them strong in mind, strong in body, and strong in spirit. Prayer is, and connecting with spirit is a very crucial part of being ageless. You know, it's kind of like the Benjamin Button syndrome. And for me personally, I had to grow up really, really fast. My mother, bless her soul, bless her heart, she didn't want me to be a little girl for forever. She wanted me to grow up. Most parents, you know, want to see their children as children for the longest time. They want to enjoy that time with children. My mother didn't have that. She came from a dysfunctional family with a father that was an alcoholic. He was a womanizer, and he treated his family poorly because of his disease, and he died young. And there could be some aspect of that my mother, you know, wanted to kind of protect me in a way. I don't know. She was affected by how she was raised. Her mother died very young. Her mother died of a broken heart because of all that the father put the family and his wife through. So I grew up being really encouraged and pushed to grow up really fast. But when I grew up and I became a grown woman, I was childlike, and I still am as an older woman. I'm very childlike. And, you know, in a way, she kind of did me a favor, but it was hard. It was hard growing up that way. My body matured really young. Therefore, I got into relationships too young. I chose relationships that weren't good for me, and I learned from that. So we take what we have as growing up. We take from our parents, and we turn it into something positive. It is. You know, it's not really black and white. It's kind of gray, the area, because yes, she did me a disservice by pushing me into adolescence very early, and my body followed that. But then again, when I grew up, I had this youthful, and I still do. Age is limitless to me. And I still have many purposes in my life, and I'm not the least bit ready to leave. Now, I'll leave when I'm ready to leave. I'll leave when I was contracted to leave. But I really do have a feeling that I'm going to be here for quite some time yet. And I am an older person, as you can see. But anyway, I hope this talk helped you a little bit to get kind of an idea about being ageless and moving, keeping your mind sharp, reading something you're really, really interested in, and even playing games that stimulate your mind really helps us. And you know, they're working. I just heard or I read an article just recently, and they are getting closer to a cure for Alzheimer's and dementia. And this is something that a lot of people of a certain age get, but now it seems to be that younger people are getting it as well. So yes, they are working on a cure, and I hope, unlike the cancer cure, which we could have, I could get into this, but it's a fact, we could have had a cure for cancer in the 30s, but we didn't. And there's a reason for that. So there are many reasons for that. But I hope that these diseases that take people way too young can be nullified as soon as possible. But what we eat, how we take care of our bodies, can really, and I know it's in the DNA, I know that dementia and Alzheimer's can be in the DNA, but we can rise above that by stimulating our minds, keeping our minds stimulated, eating good food, eating good food that promotes brain power, keeping moving. Movement helps us with so many things. It helps us with hypothyroidism. It also helps us with high cholesterol, and so we don't have to possibly, I'm not professing that we go off of medicine. I'm not a doctor, but we can subside those kind of syndromes, high cholesterol, hypothyroidism, hyperthyroidism, which can really affect our bodies. We can move our bodies even in the most gentle way. As we mature our bodies, it's really good to do flowing exercises like Qigong, Tai Chi, yoga. The flowing exercises and stretching, these are all really good for our bodies. So I want to thank you so much for tuning in today and listening to my little talk on age is just a number. So keep on smiling, folks, and I hope everyone is staying cool in this heat across the United States and in other parts of the world. I love you all, and may Spirit bless every single one of you. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will be talking to you on another subject very soon. Thank you. Josie signing off here. Bye-bye.